Your favorite fat boys.
Man, when it's right, bitch.
What's up, everybody? Your favorite fat boy, Ron.
Stefan, a.k.a. Mayhem, a.k.a. Officer Lethal Weapon, a.k.a. we getting too old for this shit.
Ain't we though? Ain't we though? What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in and showing up for your favorite Fat Boys podcast.
We back together again. Look at that.
Yeah, we back. High five. Yeah, sanitizing it.
That's what I was thinking.
So, quick update. Obviously, we're in person again. I have fully recovered from my surgery, and I can sit on my ass again.
I saw him twerking on his way into my house.
Because I was happy that I could sit down. So I'm doing a whole lot better these days. Like I said, I fully recovered from my surgery, and things are looking up. I feel a lot better. I'm starting to feel like the 2019 version of Jerron, which was, I was still on dialysis, but I felt a whole lot better, and I'm starting to feel like that way now. 2020 was not a good year for me. It was very rough. I had pneumonia, had blood clots, and I caught this infection. And if I caught COVID, I probably would be here talking to y'all now. I just don't know how much.
This would have been an update about how the show was over.
Because I just don't know how much strength I would have had, my body would have had to fight COVID, really, in all honesty. So it's been a struggle. But I'm glad that, the doctors help and many doctors I have and friends that I have, praying for me, keeping me on my toes like Stefan, keep my spirits up high and, just pushing through. And I'm just looking forward to, enjoying the rest of the year and, doing more of the podcasts. And me and Stefan got something coming and something new in May for y'all. Hope y'all enjoy it. So we had another chapter to the Fat Boy. What is it? The Fat Boy YouTube page? Yeah, the Fat Boy. Your favorite Fat Boys YouTube page. So, anything going on with you?
I mean, nothing much. I mean, myself, much like you, we've taken the first steps to surviving the rest of this year.
Yeah, we got vaccinated. Well, we got the first shot.
Yay!
And it wasn't Johnson & Johnson. It wasn't no Equate. It wasn't no great value. We got the Moderna.
I don't know what you got. I got the great value shot. I know they said that the vaccine's supposed to be free, but I was making sure it was cheap.
You got coupons for just that. Because the Pfizer, did I say that right?
Pfizer.
The Pfizer vaccine, it just came out recently. I think they said that you might have to get that annually, or maybe a booster.
Yeah, any of them, you'll probably end up having to get a booster.
Okay.
Because at this point, there's so many mutations of COVID. It's, like I said many moons ago, that it may end up like the flu, where it's just going to be around with us forever. Mm-hmm. So it's looking like it might be that way.
Well, I got vaccinated. I'm getting my second shot. We're recording. This is a Saturday, so I get my next shot on Monday coming up.
And I get my next shot the following week.
So we'll be fully vaccinated by then. And I encourage everybody to research getting the vaccine. I understand people are scared or worried about the side effects of it. And me and Stefan had a conversation the other day about it. And I didn't have no problem taking the vaccine. I was strongly encouraging my doctors to take the vaccine. But one thing that helped me put it in perspective was that this vaccine is a boost to your immune system. So if you have a side effect, it's because your body's kind of overworking to compensate for the boost in your immune system. It's the same way for when I was taking antibiotics, and antibiotics were helping to fight an infection. One side effects that I didn't bounce those that I was throwing up, and I was shitting all the time. I was having diarrhea. So my body was overworking itself pretty much because they give you such a high dose of antibiotics. So it's kind of the same way with the vaccine shot. If you're having a side effect, like you get a headache, you feel tired. People like have other symptoms.
Yeah, that is just your body's way of letting you know that the immune system is kicking into overdrive to get a foreign entity out. And again, for anybody who doesn't know much about these vaccines, they do not contain the coronavirus in the vaccine. I will definitely put a big ass banner at the bottom that says they do not contain the coronavirus in.
Yeah, they don't contain the coronavirus, and it's going to do more good than harm. So I strongly encourage you, but I'm no doctor, so please do your research and make the best choice for you and your family. That will help y'all.
And when we say do your research, we don't mean find the one thing that confirms your bias and stick with that.
Yeah. And then just because you in no way that someone else gets it to see what happens to them, someone's going out a lot or being around a lot of people, I want to trust that I don't have to have it. I'm going out still, but you don't want to catch it and you get like a worse case of it because people get mild symptoms. They got quarantined for so many days, and that's the least that you have to worry about when it comes to corona.
Right.
But you get a bad case of it, then what? You're in the hospital and you gotta be on the ventilator. I don't know if they're still doing that at this point.
Yeah, they are.
So, I don't want to see nobody, not take the proper precautions and just be ignorant and not do their research.
And for whoever needs to hear this, because there are a lot of you who do, Facebook is not a legitimate source for information. Just because somebody posted it on Facebook does not make it true. I don't know how many goddamn coronavirus vaccine conspiracy theories that I've heard from people because they saw it on fucking Facebook. No.
Don't trust anything you see on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, you can take those things, maybe just take it as a grain of salt, I would say. But, do your own research and make decisions in there. And everybody, please be safe. Wear your mask, though.
And again, I still have an issue with the whole do your own research. Do your own research that are backed by legitimate scientific sources.
No Dr. Sebi.
None of that bullshit. Legitimate scientific resources. Please and thank you.
So before we jump into our topics for today, I just want to say I'm doing better. I'm happy. Stefan's doing good. He's been fine. Nobody worries about him too much anyway. So.
Yeah, you should.
Our topics for today are, unfortunately, we got to talk about these police shootings again.
Let's call them extrajudicial murders.
I'm not saying that's a mouthful.
But that's what they are.
Yes. Unfortunately, we'll talk about the killing of Daunte Wright, a 20-year-old that was killed by a police officer mistakenly grabbing her gun for...
She was trying to grab her taser, but grabbed her sidearm. We'll get into that as well. And
we'll talk about the Derek Chauvin guilty verdict. He was found guilty in all 3 charges. And also then the same day...
That was me going, yeah.
We gotta wait for the sentencing. And then we'll also talk about the Ohio police shooting of Micaiah. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I believe it's Micaiah.
Bryant.
Maybe I will look it up.
As she called police for help. So there's a whole lot, involving that story there within itself. We'll start with Daunte, right? Give you a brief rundown with that. He got pulled over.
Yeah, it was a routine traffic stop.
But they said they stopped for air fresheners.
Yeah, no, they made it a point of they saw air fresheners in the window or something.
Yeah, and hang up from the
rear view mirror. And maybe there's a problem with that. I have absolutely no idea.
At this point, I'm going to Minnesota.
Said Minneapolis is off the list. But yeah, they saw air fresheners hanging in the rear view mirror. They pulled him over, and I think maybe they found like he had a warrant.
Yeah, he had a warrant for his arrest. And he pled guilty. I think it was either for weed or drug or gun charge. But whatever it was, he pled guilty and he didn't go to court because of the pandemic.
Yeah, so he had a warrant for failure to appear, and from there it cascaded into him being murdered.
Yeah, so they as he got in the car, I think he asked like what for? They didn't really say. And they did say something about the air fresheners. Or I guess that's why they pulled him over. And a scuffle broke out. The officer said she grabbed for a taser.
He raced he got back in his car to try to leave.
Yeah.
To try to peel the fuck out. Which again, does not warrant you being murdered. I've said this before and I say it again. Not following police orders is not a state of execution.
Right.
And so he gets back into his car to try to leave. And she grabs her sidearm, which she confused with her taser, and she shot him.
And he drove off, and I think he hit another vehicle, and he died on. I don't think he died. I won't say he died on the scene, but it took them a while to get him medical attention, and then he died from his injury. So the big conversation surrounding that is, why is the taser shaped like a gun? How can you mistake the taser for a gun? Was the officer too aggressive? Could they have done something differently?
See, the first question, why is the taser shaped like a gun, makes sense because of the weird way in which we train officers. We train officers to shoot. Mm-hmm. So you make the taser something familiar to them, something that they shoot. But the fact that she confused her taser with her sidearm in the heat of the moment. And this is a 26-year veteran. 26 years. And she confused her taser with her sidearm. They are shaped similar, but different enough. And they weigh differently. They feel different. And the fact that she confused the two and pulled the trigger shows that the training of police officers in America, because this is not a one-off. This happens a lot, actually. This is not a one-off. The training of police in America needs to be reevaluated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. For a 26-year vet to mistaken her...
And the trainer of other police officers.
Yeah, she's a trainer too. To mistaken her taser, her gun for the taser, and not notice any subtle differences like in weight, shape, or feel, and just still go and let the gun go off still, or shoot him, period, is like, what the hell are y'all doing?
And then the fact that her thought process for an individual, a suspect, fleeing the scene is to grab my piece, regardless if it's my taser or if it's my gun. He's fleeing the scene. He is not a threat if he's trying to run away.
Right. He's not trying to be confrontational.
Right. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm trying to flee. I'm no longer a threat. Why do you need to pull out any kind of weapon?
I think the approach is what needs to be reevaluated as well. Like, if you are pulling a suspect over for whatever reason, traffic violation, and then you see they have a warrant, I think that needs to be made clear that to the person you're about to arrest, you have a warrant, we're going to arrest you. At some point, whether you get them in the car, they're in the car, but I think it should be known that I'm going to arrest you for this reason. Now, if they take off, then you pursue. I don't think arrests need to be made during routine traffic stops. Okay.
If I pull you over, your taillight is out, and then I run your record, and I see that you have a warrant for your arrest, I'll just take your information, and then I'll inform base that this person that I just stopped has a warrant out for his arrest. Maybe at some point during the day, send some people. I don't need to do it right the fuck now.
So in a different environment then.
Like, right, where you can prepare for an incident that may occur. Okay. Not, I'm going to cause an incident right here and right now.
That makes sense.
So you are one police officer, and we know obviously the training is not great. Why do you want to put yourself in that situation? Said this individual has a warrant out for his arrest. I'm going to make note of the car. I'm going to make note of his license and registration. So at some point, we can send some people to get him.
Right.
Why do I need to do it right then and right there? He is not an immediate threat.
That's a good question to ask. Why we doing this kind of stuff at traffic stops? If it's traffic related, then let it be that and get a ticket and move on. But if it's something that's going to possibly escalate, you need to, I guess, be better prepared for it in a sense.
Yeah, we treating petty criminals making petty mistakes like they're Pablo fucking Escobar.
Yeah, we are.
And it makes no sense. Again, we really need to reevaluate, one, the training, and two, the policies in place. Like, why is that the thing? Oh, he hasn't warrant out of his arrest for failure to appear. I need to arrest him now.
You're eventually going to arrest him, but is not right. Is that moment right now, right then and there, the best moment? And I think too, he's 20 years old. He knows what he's done. He's seen the news. He's probably terrified. He could be scared for his life. Probably what he ran anyway. So
obviously,
so,
right? Yeah. Who wants to go to jail?
Right, and or worse, who wants something to happen to them? And unfortunately, something did happen to him. I think your approach, your training, all that needs to be reevaluated.
And whoever watches this video and thinks to themselves, well, he's a criminal, he should have never resisted arrest, doesn't fucking matter. I would hope that police officers would take criminals as well as innocent people if they make a mistake without killing them. Criminals don't need to be killed by the police either. That's what we have the whole law and justice thing for. So if you're a criminal, you're supposed to get due fucking process. You're not supposed to just be extrajudicially murdered.
And one other thing that comes up when killed by police, when it's black or brown people, is when you see them being killed by police on camera, from the body camera, whether it be cell phone footage. But then you see, what was that kid named? Kyle Rittenhouse walk around with an AR-15, shoot two people, wound a third person, and he doesn't get arrested. But yet, y'all going ham on Daunte.
Not even not get arrested. This shows you kind of the mindset. It came out, I think, a few weeks ago. They revealed there was a leak, and they revealed like some anonymous donors to the defense fund, and a lot of them were Republicans in Congress and police officers, current police officers. So it shows you where their level of support is. But even outside of that, just the police killing anyone, not even just black people, because they kill white people too. They kill everybody. There's a lot of extrajudicial murders by the police that really should not be happening. And this is just a clear case of one that should not be fucking happening.
It really shouldn't. There's got to be a different way to this be handled. And going forward, Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all three murder charges. So this,
yay! The murderer who everybody witnessed murder the person that he murdered got convicted for murder. Hooray for the bare minimum. The fuck.
So I feel like in the last few years we started this podcast in 2019,
right?
And we've covered I don't know how many police shootings, probably about 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah. Really, the main
ones.
Yeah, the main, the big events.
Yeah, the main
ones. Because there have been hundreds.
Yeah.
Because I think between the time that Chauvin got put on trial to the time that they announced the verdict, there was between, I think, like 110, 120 police shootings in that time frame in like 22 days. So, yeah, we just cover the big ones.
Yeah, we cover the ones that come across Instagram. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so in that time frame, in the time frame of 22 days, there have been at least 110 to 120 police shootings.
Y'all just trigger happy. I was like, y'all must wake up like y'all can't wake up saying you want to shoot somebody. But maybe y'all do.
I'm not saying that because they do have a thing in police training. It's called warrior training, where they are trained to, you are the wolves. Everybody who's not one of the wolves is a sheep. And this is an actual police training. You should look it up. It's fucking ridiculous.
Jeez.
And they get that mindset like, I'm a wolf. I'm the man in charge. Everybody else is an enemy. They sheep. And I need to do what I need to do. So, again, the police training is completely nuts in all fronts. It needs to be reevaluated. Policies need to be reevaluated. And police officers need to be held accountable. Especially when you realize that cities have millions and millions of dollar payouts for police.
Wrongful shootings.
Not just wrongful shootings, but just wrongful actions in general.
Yeah. Millions
of dollars. And it's taxpayer money. The police officers, we pay for that. We pay for the police to fuck up. We pay for the police to fuck up.
Freddie, I need a cut.
So yeah, it comes out of taxpayer money, so it doesn't. It's not affecting the police officer in the least. So when the police officers are settling these cases for
wrongful death,
excessive force, when they settle in all these cases, it comes out of taxpayer dollars. Because even if you look at the Derek Chauvin case, sure, he was found guilty for murder, but it came out that, prior to him murdering George Floyd, he had 17 other infractions for excessive force. Yeah. Why the fuck was he still a police officer? If I fuck up 17 times at my job, no, fuck it. If I fuck up 2 times at my job, they'll fire me.
Yeah.
He had 17 infractions for excessive force. He said, and this wasn't even the first time he put his knee in somebody's fucking back.
No, they're looking into that now. The Department of Justice is looking into, I think there was an incident in 2017. They had it with a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It was and he had his knee in his back for a longer period of time. I guess he was young enough that he didn't die.
I guess he didn't have no fentanyl in the system. Did you think he would be found guilty?
I did, only because of all of the cosmic forces that were in play.
Okay.
I mean, there was completely damning video. There was a lot of political pressure. There was a lot of social political pressure. I mean, protests and riots.
Yeah.
So if all of these forces didn't come together, and the young girl who decided that she was going to keep on filming, none of this shit, he would have not been convicted.
And actually, the video I think was 9 minutes and 26 seconds, not 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So it's like an extra minute on the video. Right.
And then the fact of the matter is, like, if all of these things didn't come into play, like, the Black Lives Matter movement, all of the protests, rioting in the streets, if all of those things didn't come into play, he would have got off. Because if you look at the original police report that the media had put out, that the police had given them when George Floyd was first killed, it tells a completely different story than what the video showed.
It definitely does. I read it, and he definitely downplayed.
Oh yeah, everything is completely downplayed. Yeah, and the media ran with it because you trust the police source.
Yeah, because the media always paints us Black people as we're the wrongdoer regardless, and they always bring up his past and someone's past, like, well, George Floyd was on drugs, or he got U-turn time, and this and the third, and blah blah blah. Yeah, what does that do with the moment at hand?
Yeah, we talked about this before. You got to paint the victim in a bad light. It's called victim blaming, and we do it all the time with rape victims. Why were you wearing that? Why were you in that area? Why were you out at that time of night? Like, any of the shit that happened to you perpetrated by somebody else was your fault. You asked for it. Why did George Floyd have some counterfeit money? Why was he doing drugs? Like, why did he have that altercation with the police? If he was a good guy, maybe the police wouldn't have killed him. So yeah, you always have to deal with that. Anytime, especially when it's coming from a place of authority, you gotta victim blame.
I was surprised by the guilty verdict. I was happy that his family, got that. Given all the evidence that was at hand, the tape, his back. I don't think his overall record as a police officer came into play that much during the trial. Right. But to learn, he had 17 infractions. It lets you know he's not that good of an officer. He used a lot of force.
I mean, I wouldn't even say he's not that good of an officer because they kept him as an officer. They did not fire him. They did not remove him from his occupation after all of these incidences that he had.
The question I would have is how many infractions do you have to have before you get fired as a police officer?
Well, one thing I will tell you is that one of the most powerful unions in the country is the police union. They will go to bat for their people when it suits them front and center. I mean, because you had an incident, I'll have to look up the woman's name, who was a police officer 15 years ago. She stopped her partner from strangling the suspect. Right. She had to physically fight him to get her partner off of this suspect that he was strangling. And she was completely blackballed. She got fired. She couldn't get another job in the police office. She lost a pension, and it took 15 years for her to get vindicated.
She's got it back. Yeah, she just got it back. Like, I don't want to say like this week or last week, but like
like a month ago. Yeah, 15 years for her to get vindicated. So the police union will stop any officer who they believe is doing what they're supposed to be doing, like a Derek Chauvin, who is, hey, I'm beating the fuck out of suspects. I'm one of the good guys. They will fight to keep him in. But if you turn your back, if you're the good cop that turns your back on the cops and say, hey, no, you're doing bad shit, fuck you, they toss you out of bed.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter how many infractions Derek Chauvin got. As long as he was doing he was getting those fractions for the police force, they're protected.
And that's the problem we have with trying to get convictions and hold these cops accountable, because the judge, the lawyers, the police union will support them.
Oh yeah, and it's very hard for prosecutors to prosecute cops. Because if I go after cops, if I need police officer assistance, if I'm going after somebody else and trying to prosecute somebody else, who's to say that they're going to help me? Oh, you prosecute cops. Fuck you. I'm not giving you any help. I'm not giving you any assistance.
And we know how petty people can be and spiteful. So that's a huge possibility.
So, and the system is designed so that police don't have to be held accountable for their actions. We know this.
Yeah, when my mother was talking about this, and I'm trying to not go too off topic, but she was bringing up the fact about when are we going to stop killing each other? When are we not going to rely on the police so much? When are we going to, possibly join the police force and, police our own communities? And I told my response to her was that how do we take down a system that was meant to last as long as it is? How do we take down a system that was built to keep us under their thumb, oppress us, and while they, rise?
I mean, I can tell you how. Invest money in the communities. Instead of investing money in the police force to police the communities, which we know does not lower crime rates,
right?
Invest money in the community. Create opportunities within the community so that people don't need to rob and sell drugs. I'm sorry, I have no reason to rob you to get money if I have a more legitimate means to get money. Because who wants to do illegal shit to get money when you can lose all that in a second?
But if I don't sell drugs, how the government going to get their money?
I mean, they always get their money. They ain't never had a problem getting their money. And if you want to drop the crime rates and you want to have police stop policing, stop investing in the police and invest in communities. We know that it works.
Defund the police.
We know that it works. You don't have to invest $1 million into a police force when you can just invest $1 million into the communities that need it.
And when we say defund the police, we're not saying disband the police, get rid of them altogether.
Right, we talked about this before.
Yeah, the police are needed for certain things, but it's been so many cases between the last episode we did on this till now, when someone has had a mental episode and you call the police and then they end up shooting or hurting the person, or even killing them, and it's like
because they're not trained to handle it.
Exactly. So you should have social workers come out there, or some of the division that you can create that can handle these type of they're trained properly to handle situations. To me, if I'm an officer and I've had a trying day, and then I get a call to help somebody that is having a mental moment, and I might not use the right judgment, I might not count it the right way because I've had a trying day.
On the fact that they're just not trained to handle it.
Right.
I mean,
you make the wrong call, you shoot somebody, you hurt them too much. It's uncalled for. But if you have a specialized unit in a sense that can handle that.
Or in the fact that we don't train officers in de-escalation tactics. And we make sure that they are good shots, but we don't make sure that they have some crisis intervention.
Well, hold on to that, because let's go segue into us talking about McCare Bryant. So Derek Chauvin found guilty, yay, but we'll wait for the sentencing. It's going to take another 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll get the full sentence? Because I've heard what I read is that they're consecutive, so he will serve one after another, but he can get the less amount for all those charges.
Yeah. I would be remiss to believe that he's going to serve more than 10 years.
Mm. That's what the last lady got.
Yeah, I would be.
Brohan?
Yeah, is it Botham?
Botham.
Yeah, Botham Jean. I would be remiss if he gets more than 10 years. But I can see him getting 10 years as to placate the people. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would be remiss if he gets more than
10. I'm hoping he gets 20. I'm gonna say I'm hoping, but he should get what he deserves. And just because he's a cop does not mean that she gets better treatment. But we know that's how shit works sometimes.
Right.
So I guess we out of in the last few shootings that have happened, not few, but in the multiple police shootings that happened, it's we got 2. So hopefully this sets a standard that I won't say with video. But I guess when another police shooting happens and it isn't video, they get their day in trial, or they'll serve their day in court.
Right, it just can't just be easily swept under the rug.
Right, and then all the evidence comes out, and then the jury makes a decision. So, but without that video, he probably got more.
Oh yeah, no. Absolutely.
So, Ma'Khia Bryant. Actually, let me read you this part real quick. I got off Instagram of someone who I believe that they spoke with the family. The person is not the name is not important, but I'm just reading this off of the post. I went to the memorial yesterday and spoke with Ma'Khia Bryant family and friends. Those girls, one was a 28-year-old adult, had come to Ma'Khia Bryant foster home 3 days in a row trying to fight her. The foster mom is the one who had the girls come fight Ma'Khia, claiming she was unruly. Everyone in the entire house was against Ma'Khia, and when her father came, she finally felt safe enough to come out and fight. And so imagine a 15-year-old thinking the process hadn't fight a 28-year-old and others. And her own foster mother calling to her to have her beat up. Ma'Khia's little sister is one who made a 911 call. 3 days straight all by herself. I'm sure Ma'Khia was extremely scared, but felt she had to be brave and protect herself by any means necessary. This information hasn't come out in the media just yet, but the investigation is done properly and there's transparency. You all will hear all about it. Had the cop tased her or simply attempted to stop her from stabbing the girl, he could have found that out, and that's why he, along with the foster mother and all the adults involved, are at fault. And that's all I have to say about that. End quote, unquote. So that's just to give you a little context of what was going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand the context is that she needed a knife to protect herself. Police officer comes up, sees a person about to stab somebody, and his first thought is, I need to protect lives. I shoot. Which I was talking about, some minutes earlier, training. Why is it that the police officers don't have any kind of de-escalation training? You deal with 10 situations. You should know how to de-escalate them. Mm-hmm. You should have some crisis intervention. This is a person who was distressed. And granted, you're a cop coming on the scene. You hear there is a disturbance. Why is your first inclination is pull out gun, put bullets in? Because she was shot 4 times. I think even if you have to shoot somebody, 1 is way more than necessary. But to pull the trigger 4 times, so I got to make sure I put her down before you know what the actual situation is.
Right.
It shows a lack of training.
It does. And when I seen the video of CNN breaking the video down and showing it in slow motion, you see Ma'Khia with the knife when the officer, I think it's taken from the officer's body cam.
Yeah.
So you see her cocking back with the knife and about to stab or strike this girl in the video who was wearing pink. So when they showed in the video like that, and I don't know how, and I guess it's might how the officer might have saw it, was, oh, she's about to strike, I need to take her down. Yes, I agree with you. 1 shot, it should be more than enough to get somebody to kind of like wise up, back the fuck off. To put her down, to use 4 shots to put her down and not know what's going on. Not knowing, is this the person that called 911? Is not the person, what's going on. And you had 2 other officers there as well.
Yeah, like I said,
they easily could have kind of maybe, separate everybody.
Yeah, from the amount of time, I can't quite remember the amount of time that passed from the moment the officer was on the scene to the moment that he shot her was barely 30 seconds.
He's popped up, hopped out.
And, oh shit, shoot. Barely 30 seconds. Again, I understand you're in a tense situation and a few seconds can make or break life or death, but the fact of the matter is the inclination that is always comes into play here is grab gun, put bullets in, find out later. Like I told you, I had an incident when the police officer pulled a gun on me because I was running down the street.
Right.
He was confused about the situation. He pulled out his gun. I'm like, what the fuck? He said, I was going to put 2 in you and ask questions later. Because the first inclination is pull gun, shoot.
Right.
Thing drop, then I'll figure out what's going on.
Well, he ran up on you. What he ran up on you?
He said, yeah, I'm too old for all that wrestling shit. I'm going to put 2 in you and I'll ask questions later.
Sprinkle some crack on.
Right. Might as well have. And that's the same thing that happened with, with the Ma'Khia Bryant situation. The cops, he gets on the scene. He knows that there's a disturbance, a fight, some violence. He gets on the scene. He sees somebody with a knife. His first thought is, put down, and then I'll figure out what's going on.
And then it's like, you can't, like, I say in the movies all the time. The thing pops in my mind when you said that is the scene in Bad Boys 2 when Will Smith and Martin lost at the shootout with the Haitians in the house.
Yeah.
And after the shootout, Martin asked Will, let's ask him. We can't because he got a fucking bullet in his head. Let's ask him. Oh, nah, he shot the fuck up here, Mike Lowry. So it's in that same context, it's like, what happened? Oh, I can't talk. I'm dead.
Right. You can't get an idea of what the situation is because you came in guns a-blazing.
Exactly. And when you say de-escalating training, you worked at a group home.
So I've worked at several group homes, and I worked at Shepherd Pratt's day school. And we had...
That's fucking crazy people.
We had to have crisis intervention. We had to have de-escalation training because the last thing we wanted to do was get lawsuits for us beating up on people's mentally disturbed children. So we had to have hours and hours and hours worth of de-escalation training so that because kids these kids would go the fuck off. You could at any point in time have a kid just snap and want to destroy a room and want to hurt people. So we needed to be able to de-escalate them without hurting them. And we had tactics that we called non-aggressive takedowns, where we would use multiple people to take down a person without hurting them or ourselves. Okay. Because the last thing we wanted to do was to be hurting somebody's kids.
How many hours you think you did, when you worked at the group home?
Shit! Oh my god!
Now was this hours of training? Was like you would do this like every month, every 2 weeks, or
so? Yeah, it starts out with you have the initial training, and then that would go on for a couple of weeks, and then you would come back every few months and do more training, and have refresher courses and do more training. Okay. So we had to constantly keep up to date with this training. Because again, the last thing you want, and as big as I am, the last thing they want is me beating on somebody's kid to calm them the fuck down.
Show enough.
Right. Now I'm the master. so yeah, and police officers don't get crisis intervention de-escalation training.
So is it safe to say that you with what's your degree in again?
My degree is in computer science.
Your degree in computer science. That you also have more crisis training than a Baltimore police officer that's probably 2 years in.
I probably have more than somebody who's 10 years in.
Damn. Pay the man. So we say all this and we make little jokes about it, make light of the situation. But what happened was definitely not fun. What our point is to make is, why is this not something that is constant in the police force when you had a job and there's not saying that those kids weren't a threat per se. They could have been.
Oh, I mean, we had plenty who were definitely a threat.
Yeah, but you had the proper training to handle them and to de-escalate the situation. A police officer has a gun, but why is that the first thing you pop out with? And again, I understand. I'm looking from the cop's point of view.
Heat of the moment. You don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
You see a person with a weapon.
Yeah, and it's like, do you let him stab the girl, or do you let her stab the girl up, and then take her down? Then that girl might have died from her injuries, or she's severely wounded. Or do you take out the person with the weapon, even though she's the one who's trying to protect herself? He does not know that in that moment.
Well, you figure out there has to be some other means to stop this incident from occurring other than put bullets in back.
A couple arguments. There's a lot of arguments people are making. One is that, it has to be a better way a better way for the police to handle dealing with children, in hostile situations. If Kyle Rittenhouse can walk around the AR-15, kill 2 people, wound another, they give him a bottle of water, and yet he doesn't get arrested until the next day. And then Dylan Roof kills 9 people in a church. He doesn't get shot at. Why is it that we are not given that same, I don't say reasonable benefit of a doubt? Why are we not given that same courtesy?
Said again, I mean, granted, what's
in the training that says black people scary no matter what, dangerous no matter what, white people always friendly?
Like, and as a matter of fact, I won't even say that it's white people always friendly, because there are a number of white folks who get shot and killed by the police unjustly. The fact of the matter is that these interactions happen at a higher percentage for black people than they do for white people. Not to say that they don't happen, because they definitely do. Right. But they happen at a higher percentage for black people. And as I was saying again, it has to do with training and the policies in place for police officers. All of it needs to be reformed, revisited, thrown the fuck out the water and restructured. Because you can't just assume that, all right, if we, like a Derek Chauvin, we hold one police officer, look, he's going to jail. Everything's great. But the system is that causes this shit to happen is still in place.
Exactly.
It changes nothing.
Right. That's what I was telling my mother pretty much. That how can you make changes or expect change when the system is still in place that's so corrupt? The way it's designed, it was built to last damn near centuries almost. It seems like. But what do? Yes, you should vote, and you should vote for people that probably have a fresher mindset, probably a little younger, then especially to know the community and understand the struggles of that community, things like that. It's too many politicians, I think, in office right now. They're just too out of touch.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's definitely the case, but it's not even a politician thing. It's the people, because you might think the politicians are in control of the police force, but they're really not. The police, like I said earlier, the police unions are one of the most powerful unions in America. So that the restructuring has to start from there and work its way around.
Yeah, because I remember reading about the officer that killed Eric Gardner in New York. It took them, I think, like 5-6 years to get that officer out the force. And the police commissioner was willing to fire him. But the holdup was the police union.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And the police union was I guess they had some kind of back and forth with whoever, whether or not they should fire him. I guess his representative was fighting for him all that time. But the police chief was like, yeah.
Right, I respect unions. They do serve a purpose, and you always want your union to come to bat for you. But in situations like that, the union should just say, fuck you. You make it all of us look bad. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah. These I just know, man, one thing. These shootings, again, they are an emotional toll on me because they're happening so frequent. And like I couldn't watch Micaiah Bryant video, after a couple of days, because it was just like the verdict for Derek Chauvin just came out, and I was like, well, he's found guilty. And then that happened, and then it's like a couple of days before, or a week before, you had Daunte Wright was shot and killed. You had 8 people die that worked at FedEx.
Yeah, mass shooting at FedEx.
Right, but it's just so much that's happening, and then of course coronavirus taken out.
I mean, at least for the first part of that, America has to address its obsession and love of guns. Mm-hmm. At some point, we have to address it. Why we are so in love with guns that we just accept all of these things.
I think it was a year or two ago, New Zealand had a mass shooting at a mosque.
Yeah, Christchurch shooting.
And they voted to remove assault. They banned all assault rifles.
Yep. Just said, you use that weapon to kill a bunch of people, you no longer get that weapon. But again, America has a love affair with guns. So we'll continue to see more and more shootings until we address our love affair with guns.
Right. And do you need a Tech 9 to go hunting? No. Do you need an AR-15 to go hunting? No.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to hit the block and wet that bitch up, then yeah, that's what you want to use.
I mean, that's what they're specifically used for. They were not made for killing animals. They were made for killing people. The human animal.
Right. We got to put a better policy in place. We got to take down the old system, put in a better one that benefits both sides. And I don't see what's wrong with both sides benefiting, people in the police when something happens or just a new system period is in place.
And again, we have to address all our affair with guns and the failures of the policing system that we have in America, because it has failed. It's not equal for all. It's not even equal for most. So the policing system has failed, and that needs to be addressed before we can ever move forward.
Yeah, it's not even protecting and serving anymore. Whatever that. I don't know when they were protecting and serving.
Oh, I mean, granted, there was already. I think the case went to Supreme Court where they said they sided with the police that they don't have to protect you. That's already been very, very well established that they don't have to protect you. They just use protect and serve because that was just the old motto.
One thing I'll leave off on this: how can we trust the police, or how can we trust a system like the police that was built off rounding up slaves and hunting slaves?
See, I would say things tend to evolve all the time. So the thing that you started out with and started out being does not have to be the thing that you end as. We see that all the time in history. The thing that you started out with does not have to be the thing that you end as. But if you don't address what you started out as and address how that still affects you to this day, then it's kind of hard to move forward from it. And that is one thing with policing. We don't address the origins of policing, and we don't address how those origins still affect how it plays out today. And until we do, and just blow it all away and start fresh, start with better ideas, because we have them, then we won't progress, and policing will still be as terrible as it's always been in America.
I agree with you there 100%. So, thank you for discussing these topics with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. Go ahead and sign us out, Stephon.
That's the end of our show. And as always, you can check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. All right, that's the show. Peace out.
Peace.